Alright, so I'm currently trying to platinum every single type of EA game that there is out there, and if I can't do it before the channel hits 1 million subscribers, then my punishment is I have to platinum Fortnite, one of the longest, hardest, and most grindy games of all time. So make sure to drop a like and subscribe. Anyways, in today's video, I got the platinum trophy on Need for Speed Hot Pursuit, the remastered version, of course. But this is the final Need for Speed game inside of the series that is able to be platinumed on the PlayStation 5, and I am honestly pretty happy to see all these completed with. I might have grown a bit tired of driving if I'm gonna be real, but Hot Pursuit was no easy departure, and it's actually the hardest out of any in the series to platinum. Rated at a solid 6 out of 10 for difficulty, which is pretty accurate, and just after playing it today to platinum, I can definitely say that it is 100% the hardest Need for Speed game there is. But in total, the game has 47 trophies, including the platinum trophy. However, I did get a handful of DLC throughout as I played, because it's integrated within the base game, which I'm personally never a fan of them doing that because it makes the trophies kind of hard to track. But there is also 4 total stages to the platinum, with many modes to be played and headaches to be had. Starting off today, however, I did begin with stage 1, which was to achieve all of the gold medals as a racer and become the most wanted in Seacrest County, which is where the game takes place. Now, for those of you who have never played Hot Pursuit, essentially the game functions a lot like most Need for Speed games, with events being races, hot pursuits, interceptors, and on and on. The core gameplay is the same as any other Need for Speed game. However, there also isn't really a free roam in the game, which is kind of odd, but it is also sort of good because this takes away collectibles and driving to events. However, in turn, it does make the game almost a bit bland due to the only way of playing it by selecting events on the map of the game. Regardless of that, though, the game opens up with the plot of the campaign being that Seacrest County, which is where the game takes place. It's kind of like the hotspot for racing in the country, and every single racer has flooded it just to race each other all day. Sounds pretty fire if I'm being honest. However, due to this, the cops have been sent out with mirroring vehicles to combat them, and it's just all out anarchy on the streets. And that's basically the story, with the racer goal to become the most wanted and the cop goal to become the ultimate enforcer. Now, since I started with the racing career in my first event, which was just the intro race, I actually got a few trophies, funnily enough. First being called Burnout from using a max nitrous bar all in one go without hitting anything. And this is actually very easy, to be honest, but if you're not the best at controlling nitrous, this could be a tad bit challenging. Anyways, then it's finished off that event, and you don't really get any trophies from any event completion, but rather just ranking up, and that's the majority of the trophies in the game, so it's kind of bland, but it's nothing to really complain about. Now, ranking up, by the way, is done by just finishing in first place, using your tools to your advantage, wrecking cops, racers, just doing anything to f over others gets you points, and I find that very funny. My next trophy was then an online one, actually, from beating a friend's auto log recommendation time. This is another recurring thing in Need for Speed games where friends on your friends list set times, and if you beat them in your own runs, it's a trophy. And you can beat anybody's time, so hopefully your friends suck at this game like some of mine do, and the trophy shouldn't be a problem. After I finished that race and then the next one, I also ended up ranking to Wanted Level 2 for my first leveling trophy of the game, popping right here. And for some more backdrop on this game's flow, the beginning of both the racing and cop career is pretty standard and easy to get gold times on and finish first in, getting progressively harder as you play more of, which is also, you know, expected to happen. But it does get pretty damn hard later on, which is where that 6 out of 10 difficulty comes from. And as you play as the racer, you also do unlock gadgets to use that mimic the cop gadgets pretty closely. And if you use a spike trap and get a hit with it, you get a trophy called Hit Confirmed, which popped right here for me. Now, during this same event, I also got another trophy called Vengeance is Mine. Shout out to Batman. But the trophy was just from wrecking a cop. Another very simple trophy, and here it is. Unfortunately, however, that was it for the easy trophies of the game. So I then went about an hour or so without any more, and I also got a bit stuck on some events already. Hot Pursuit has a very different gameplay mechanic than other Need for Speed games do, and the skill curve is quite large, especially when first starting out, which is why my driving was absolute booty cheeks, if I'm gonna be real with you. I would say that now I am pretty good after platinuming it, but at the start I was down bad for sure. However, the next trophy I did get was just from reaching Wanted Level 4. Again, this goes up from winning events and doing actions that give bounty points. I also got far enough in the racing career to use more gadgets, and I ended up nailing a cop with an EMP, and this just sort of disables the car for a quick second and makes you piss yourself also, so that's a W tool. I then got another new gadget after that called the Jammer, which is very useful and becomes quite the staple as a racer because it can stop all attacks from cops, and it also messes up their systems, making it harder for them to track you, so it's just overall a really good ability. But as I was saying, just using it and having it affect a cop gives you a trophy, and here it is. I then reached Wanted Level 6 after that because with all these new events come new levels, and it's just the nature of the game, so here's that trophy as well. I then unlocked the final ability a racer can use, being the Turbo. And this is just a nitrous overload and functions like any turbo does in like every racing game ever, helping you boost out of situations or just become chaos itself. But after using a full turbo without hitting anyone, which is far harder than the nitrous trophy, you also get a trophy from the turbo. The next trophy I got was then from driving through an undamaged roadblock without hitting it. And this is a shockingly hard trophy because roadblocks in this game, while yes, they do have gaps, the gaps are very tight, and fitting a car through them has to be done pretty much perfectly to not damage anything. Typically, I would get through the gap just with some side scraping, but eventually I did make it through without damaging it, and I was low-key shocked when I did and got the trophy. My following 2 trophies in Hot Pursuit were then both level trophies from reaching level 8 and 11. 7. I know, a super exciting trophy list we have today. During that time frame, I also completely lost my mind because the events now are getting more and more challenging, as I said they would, so that's just swell. And what makes these events harder and harder is that more cops get thrown in, and these cops are also just better with better cars, abilities, and even drivers. Yes, the AI cops of 2010 are still fucking us in 25. It's crazy, I can't even. But I ended up stopping a cop trying to use an EMP on me with a spike strip, and that's a trophy called Power Spike. Get it? Because EMP and spike trap together are like a power strip? Okay, I'm done.
Oh my god!
Anyways, my next two trophies were then wanna level trophies again, being this time rank 14 and 17. And these are the final two level or rank trophies I would get by just playing through story events before reaching the final event of the racer career. Now, I was struggling a lot on time trials in this racing portion, and my best advice is to just learn the car you're using well before getting mad at failing. And if you can choose a car, then obviously learn that car also. But aside from knowing the mechanics and how well your car turns, make sure you use shortcuts 100% of the time. For my entire first about 10 hours of playing this game, I didn't think shortcuts were good, but goddamn, that shit is retarded. Shortcuts are literally the best way to cut times at races, time trials, everything, which is pretty obvious because they're literally called shortcuts, so I don't know what I was thinking. The American public education system definitely failed me. I mean, come on, I play video games for a living. But after all of those events, I ended up saving the last one to do, being called Seacrest Tour, because it is the longest event in the game, taking about 40 miles from start to finish, and also because it's the only event in the game that gives you a trophy for beating it, seeing as it is the campaign's kind of final race in the story. But like I said, it is the longest event, and it's actually still pretty hard just because of the AI drivers. Hot Pursuit does not have a difficulty setting on it, so these guys are good the entire time. But with the 40 miles, it really does leave time to catch up, and also time to choke severely. So you do have to be locked in the entire race, and I did have to retry a few times due to getting left too far in the dust to recover. But eventually I did win, and that also gave me my last gold medal I needed for the Gold Digger trophy. Shout out to that one ex-girlfriend on God. But then I got the trophy Tour de Seacrest from finishing that event, like I said. But that then pretty much finished up the racing career stage aside from reaching level 20. However, instead of grinding that out right now, I decided to jump a stage and do the online from stage 3 regarding all these trophies got inside the online mode of the game. There's a total of 6 trophies here requiring us to play 3 different modes of online races, and I managed to get some help with filling lobbies with people from my Discord, but people do still play this game, so this isn't really needed. However, I do want to give a huge shout out to everybody that joined and helped with the races, and also gave up their time, because this stage, while simple, took a very long time to complete. In total, I think I spent like 6 hours straight in the online doing all these races for the very few trophies, with my first one being from just finishing 10 races in online. And for some more backdrop, not a single trophy requires you to win anything, just play the game, so W. But after the races, we then went to the Hot Pursuit mode, because there's 2 trophies gotten here. One from 10 Hot Pursuits as a cop, and another with 10 as a racer. You also do swap every time a round ends, so this just means 20 matches of Hot Pursuit in total. While playing these, I actually got 2 trophies though. First, called Wall of Steel, from deploying a roadblock and having it hit a racer. Very easy trophy, and here it is. I also reached level 19 as a racer in itself, which is almost max but not quite, and here's that trophy as well. I then played through these matches, getting dogged on basically the entire time. I may or may not have been trying, yeah, definitely not because I'm bad or anything, but I got the Hot Pursuit cop trophy before the racer one because I played my first Hot Pursuit as a cop. But here's both of those trophies popping anyways. So the final mode inside of the online that we need to grind out 20 matches for, just like the Hot Pursuits, was called the Interceptor mode. And this is a 1v1 duel between a cop and a racer. So I had one of my friends help me with this that was already helping, and huge shout out and thanks to the brother. This saved a ton of time because interceptors don't have a time limit on them or a destination. You either win by escaping the cop or wrecking the racer, so it can theoretically go on forever. So to solve this, me and my boy just repeated the cycle over and over of us killing each other as the match started right away, because you just need to finish them, like I said, for the trophies. And I actually got the 10 racer interceptors first because it doesn't swap you every time like before. But then while I took my turn as the cop, I actually got quite a few trophies doing this. First, from busting a racer. Finna bust a nut on Superman. Go follow me on Instagram right now to see my feet for free. Anyways, I then reached rank 3 as a cop for another trophy, and I finally finished 10 interceptors as a cop for that trophy pop as well. But that was the final online trophy, so stage 3 is now finished, which led me to bounce back to stage 2 and do the entire cop career just like the racing career I did earlier. And this functions the same way as the racing career, except we are now the hunters, not the hunted. My first trophy was from reaching rank 5, so here is that as well. But then I got 2 gameplay trophies. First, from calling in a helicopter and having it hit a racer with spike strips that drops, so here's that trophy. Also, that's a super good tool, by the way. But then I busted the 918 Spider using an EMP in Porsche Patrol. Super fucking random trophy, but hey, I did it naturally through pure luck, let's be real. And due to me not having a lot of random trophies left, I just got 3 level 1s in a row, being level 8, level 11, and level 14. I then made it to my final event for the gold medal trophy on the cop Cop Career. And this is the event that makes the game a 6 out of 10 for difficulty. Duty calls. You have to achieve a time of 1 minute and 58 seconds to get gold, and you also have to use the fastest car in the Cop Career because, you know, you get given the car in the race. But for some more info on why this is so hard, if you ever tap a wall during these Cop time trials, it adds 2 seconds, and if you hit a car, it adds 3, and it just keeps adding as you do more and more faults as you play. And to get this time, you absolutely have to hit every single shortcut in the route. There's about 3 of them, I believe, and they're all very, very tight fits to get through and also keep up a good speed while you're doing it. Now, my finishing time was only 1 minute and 56 seconds, so I almost didn't make it. I also did scrape one wall, and I even crashed at the very end. Thankfully, I did recover in time and I was able to still finish, and you know damn well I almost busted seeing myself choke at the end, but it was all good, and here's that trophy. So with that completed, I have now finished the Cop Career, just not the levels trophies yet. And for both of these careers, you're almost always going to have to grind out levels at the end, so that's unfortunate. But I moved on to stage 4 of the guide to get these done with so I could focus on just grinding out the platinum. First doing the drift trophy from getting 2,000 yards drifted with the Impreza WRX STI in one event. I did the guide suggested event, which was perfect, and also huge shout out to the Hot Pursuit guide creator, by the way. But getting this trophy, I just made sure to drift like 24/7 during the event, and it worked, getting me well over 2,000 yards in the trophy pop. I then won a Hot Pursuit in an Aston Martin, which can be done on any Hot Pursuit that has the Aston Martin car as an option. I won the Muscle Reflex event in the Camaro with the B yellow paint on it. Kind of an odd trophy, but hey, it just requires you to win. And also, as you might be seeing, winning just counts as getting a medal, so top 3 counts as a win, which is a W because some of these are still very hard to get first in. I then drove a Corvette on a rainy map, and you do have to finish the event, by the way, for the trophy to pop, just FYI. I also then did a kind of hard trophy, but not too bad, from getting any medal in Run to the Hills event while using the GTR and not any weapons, having to just crash into racers to get the medal, but I did it easily, so here's that trophy. And I also had to win all of these event types with the Audi R8 and on gold medal as well, which actually wasn't that hard because the R8 is a pretty good car in this game, so it just comes down to player skill, and here's that trophy. My final random trophy was then called Snakebite in Black, and this is actually very easy, but for some reason I was just not doing it right, and that reason was because I forgot to paint my car black, and I was instead just using the Ford Shelby Snakeskin edition without the black paint, which in turn defeated the entire purpose of the trophy and just its name in general. And just so we're clear, to get the trophy, you do have to paint your car black and then use the spike strip on a cop and the trophy pops. So, yeah, I'm an idiot, and I surprise myself every day with the more. But after that, I was then left to just grind out levels, and this was very boring if I'm going to be completely honest. The racer career, thankfully, only took me a few retries of the suggested event on the guide, and you can just replay the given events from the guide over and over, and there's not much else you can really do, unfortunately, so it's just a grind, as I said. I did get to level 20 on racing first because I was already at 19, so here's that trophy. But with the Cop Career, however, I was only at level 16, so in total, I spent about 2 or so more hours of doing the same event over and over and over. Please subscribe, I am dying inside. But I reached level 17 for that trophy, then 18, and then 19, and then 20. And that was it for the Platinum Trophy on Need for Speed Hot Pursuit. So that was the Hot Pursuit Platinum experience. Overall, I think the game is annoying. It's just not really my type of game to enjoy playing. It's fun if you want to play a challenging game because, damn, it definitely is a challenge. However, I don't really want to rage for 12 hours straight as I play, and that's kind of what this game is. But that's just because it is a hard game, and as we all know, I might not be the greatest gamer of all time to ever game, but I am the hardest, and that's on God.